the headquarters of Ramsey Solutions, broadcasting from the Pods Moving and Storage Studio. What's up, America? It's the Ramsey Show. And we are hanging out to have a conversation about your life, your relationships, your mental health, your money, all of it. I'm John Deloney, joined here by best-selling author and all-around pretty good human being, Rachel Cruz. And we're taking your calls on whatever's going on in your life. 888-825-5225. Calls toll free, 888-825-5225.
Is that how you intro George and Ken? Like overall good human being, or is that like my intro?
Oh, because they're not.
You say it every time we're on the show together. So I'm like, is that
You're a
mine?
good person.
Or is that like,
no.
You say that about everyone?
Oh, I see.
Overall good human being.
As though we're on a date. Hey, it's like, and you're like, oh, do you tell everybody that they're pretty? Is that what you're asking?
Overall good human being, I'm going to take as my own. I'm claiming it. That is my title.
I've never said George Campbell's an overall good human being.
Okay, good. Just
because
making
I'm
sure.
committed to telling the truth on this show. That's just like one of the things. It's one of the things. Let's go to Jenny in Charlotte. What's up, Jenny?
Hey, Dr. John. Hey, Rachel. Thanks for taking my call.
Absolutely. How can we help?
You're more than a pretty good human being there, Rachel.
Oh,
come on,
Jenny,
Dr. John.
I appreciate you. I appreciate you, Jenny. I'm so glad you're the first call of this show.
Pandering.
You just filled my soul.
I'm just joking.
I'm just
I
kidding.
did want to tell Rachel quickly. Every Christmas, at least one person I know gets Smart Money, Smart Kids as a book. Though.
Oh,
so, yeah, you're pretty great.
I'm so
thanks
glad.
for making that book.
Changing the next generation. I love it.
That's right. That's right. Quick question for you guys. I'm going to try to make a long story short. Austin was so great talking to him. We live in a pretty wealthy area of Charlotte where you hardly ever see a homeless person. Last week, I saw a wealthy area of Charlotte where you hardly ever see a homeless person. Last week, I saw a gal tucked way behind, not holding a sign, not asking for anything. So my ultimate question is regarding boundaries with a non-family member, but a homeless person that I've gotten to know pretty well over the last week or so, because I've been doing, a Dave routine of like, let's write down your goals. Where do you want to go next? She's obviously kind of a user, not kind of a user. She is a user. And so when I met her that day, we chatted for a little bit, said, what would you like? She said, can you get me a sandwich? Sure. Came back, talked to her more. And I told her that I called all the local shelters in the area, and all 5 of them had a wait list, and 3 of them required a substance abuse program first. And she said, well, thanks for looking into that. I left later that night when my husband got home. It was raining, and he said, let's just go check on her. I know you probably can't stop thinking about her. Went back to check on her. She just really wanted to go back home. She was 35 miles away, that someone just gave her a ride, hopefully to, get to a nicer area like ours. So we paid for an Uber for her to go back home with, her 2 shopping carts worth of things. And unfortunately, I did give her my phone number because I just wanted to make sure she was safe. She got back that 35 miles. And now she's calling me constantly, like a few times a day. And now we've kind of whittled down the conversations from an hour and a half to now 5 minutes. And I'm just trying to encourage her. Lisa, did you go take your bike up to Bojangles? Are you looking at your kids' names every day? What's your 3-week goal? What's your 3-month goal? And how do you be a giving believer, but not enable? And like what? And how do I get rid of my guilt of like, oh man, I just wanted to move in with me, which won't happen. But like, how do you guys handle someone that needs a lot, but you, like I said, don't want to enable? And I'm a huge fan of Dr. Henry Cloud's book, but he talks more about relatives and not new, really in need friends.
So here's how me and my family have navigated this. One, this is the way the Delonys do it. Okay, so this isn't a prescription. I err on the side of over loving than I do under loving. And it was a conversation I had with a psych professor, one of my close mentors several years ago, when he said, I stopped asking, why won't that person quit drinking? And I started asking, what is gone so sideways in this person's life? Who hurt this person to the degree that what choices were made downstream that this is the only way they can get through a day? And that was a transformative moment for me because it allowed me to be in a relationship with somebody instead of walking towards somebody with my judgment in hand, right? So in our house, we do err on the side of I'm going to be overgiving. And I also have had to come to terms with this, and this is hard. Two important facts. One, often the downstream things are three things. The downstream things like goal boards and are you doing these activities, those all come behind. I need a place to sleep, and I need food, and I need water, right? We often want to solve these big existential issues with folks, and they're just hungry, right? Or they're drinking because of what they had to do this morning to get food, right? And so that's number one. Number two, you've seen it. Presence is often once the basic needs are met, human connection and presence is intoxicating. It's such a powerful thing, right? And it doesn't surprise me that you're getting calls all the time. Here's where I struggle most is I have to recognize my limitations, and I've got to let professionals in my local area who are tied into resources, who are connected to addiction therapists. I've got a lot of grad school. I'm not a trauma. I can respond to trauma. I'm not a long-term. I got to know my limitations is what I'm saying. And here's the final thing, and this one's the hardest. Eventually, somebody has to decide that they want to make their life different. And you can put food in front of folks. You can provide resources, and you can provide care. But somebody at some point has to make the decision that they are going to accept resources. They're going to get on the wait list. They're going to start taking their meds. They're going to go sit with a local pastor, a local church who's got resources to help in the gap between the shelters, right? Someone's going to have to decide, I'm going to be willing to be a part of that. You can't make somebody be well, I guess is what I'm trying to say. And ultimately, people, I think, have to come to, like, how can I sleep tonight? And I've got friends who let people just come stay at their house. And I've got friends who write enormous checks. And I've got friends who work at the rescue mission here in Nashville. I got friends who are all in all different spectrums. And ultimately, I'm not going to get in the business of judging somebody. I am in the business of as for me in my house, right? And I think that's where ultimately where you have to land.
Yes, in my house we serve the Lord. Yeah.
And
Jenny,
here's what that looks like.
You're a pretty remarkable woman.
Yeah, incredible.
Not many people would stop, let alone have the steps that you took, and even feeling like, gosh, I'm thinking about her on a rainy night, and then actually
going to
making the steps to go do something. Yeah. So Jenny, your heart's just amazing. I just want to encourage you in that. But I think at the end of the day, what John said, my always basic line is you can't be the hero in everyone's story. There's a factor that they have to play as well. Where that encouragement comes in from you, possibly from time to time, right? And what your bandwidth is, but being able to hand her the resources that she needs, from the basics to even the mental health, like John was saying, I think is really wise.
So I would reach out to folks in your area. They've got wait lists, great. I would reach out to local pastors, to local social workers, and see if you can get her connected with some resources that would be bridge resources until she can get a place to stay. Thank you so much for having a great heart. We'll be right back.
Still on baby step number 1, eh?
How'd you guess?
With healthcare costs rising, learn how Christian Healthcare Ministries can help you make the most out of your budget. Visit chministries.org/budget.
Don't worry, it's worth it.
Welcome back. This is the Ramsey Show, 888-825-5225. I'm John Deloney, joined by a great person, Rachel Cruz. And we're taking your calls on money, life, mental health, relationships, whatever's going on, 888-825-5225.
So I feel like it's now become a pastime on the show where we'll take financial advice we've seen out, as you would say, the internets, and say, oh, is that good advice? Is that bad advice? So Credit Karma, their TikTok accounts is just full of
Propaganda.
Wonderful things. So this one came up, and I was like, "Oh, that's a fascinating take." So, John, you're gonna just get right. No, hold on. That's next.
Oh, okay. So we're gonna play the video.
Here's the video first. Yeah.
Okay, let's do this.
One thing that's cool about becoming an adult is that it's very embarrassing to not have a credit card.
Do you have a credit card, Channing?
First of all, you have to understand what a credit card is.
Alexa, can you explain to me what a credit card is?
All I know is that you swipe and get free money.
Then you need to know how to use it to your benefit.
Megan, what perks do you get from your credit card?
I think I get like airline miles or something, maybe like a trip to Mexico.
And then you need to figure out which one to apply for. Credit Karma is the secret life hack everyone needs in their life to make things a little easier when searching for a new credit card. You can explore different kinds of cards, and the best part is that you can see your chances of approval before even applying.
But won't it hurt your credit to look on Credit Karma?
Nope. And it's free. So if you want to make the most informed decision before applying for a credit card, go check out Credit Karma. You won't be disappointed.
Hey, can I just ask you something? When you're hanging out, because like I've just been with a lot of rooms with guys just hanging out doing stuff.
Oh yeah.
Have you ever? Like, do you and your friends, when y'all get together, do you all, like, say the same thing together?
And at the same time, like,
when one of your friends is knitting, do you all go, hey, you want to say it at the same time?
The only time I say the same phrase with someone is George Campbell these days, and this is smart money happy hour. And we say that at the same time. That's the closest in unison I get. So we'll talk about it in a second.
That's
video.
Gross.
But what's funny
Are we allowed to say
is
that, Jane? That was just gives me the ooze.
Oh, it gets you just like, whenever we're just shaming, it's like,
I know.
If
you don't want to be the loser.
You don't want to, if you don't have a credit card, because there's a level of like that social tribal idea that's like, I want to plug in, and when you're on the outs, we're gonna just smug and.
but it literally kicks brain chemistry in action to get you back into your tribe, right? And so videos like that are not only are they deceptive and they're like not cool, but they have actual physiological chemical responses
reactions
in people's bodies. They're like, oh, I don't want my friends.
What am I missing?
I don't want to be the weirdo.
What am I doing?
Loser.
What am I doing wrong?
Yeah.
So one of their big selling points, though, in that TikTok video specifically, was that you can get pre-approved. Like you can know if you're pre-approved before you actually apply for a credit card. So now they're actually being sued, Credit Karma,
by the FTC.
Because they are falsely pre-approving people for credit cards. So the same thing that they're like encouraging, being like, oh yeah, we can do this, they're being sued for. So man, God bless credit card companies just trying to get you people in.
The FTC's
you know better,
proposed
America.
complaint alleges that from these dates to these dates, Credit Karma falsely told many consumers they had been pre-approved for credit offers, leading consumers to apply, incur a hard inquiry on their credit reports, and if they're denied, potentially damage their credit scores unnecessarily. That part I don't even care about. Like, I mean, I don't like it. They're lying to their potential customers, and they're hurting their credit reports. That's more insidious because kids live on TikTok and it's propaganda. It's girls. Yeah.
Well, and it's like the sarcasm a little bit behind it of like, so do you know what it is? I don't know. I think it's just like free money.
Yeah.
And it's like showing this like what feels uneducated. I know they're just trying to be snarky about it.
But that snarky is, it's just free money or you just get free airline miles.
Yes.
Like, that's what a credit card is.
Seeps into like the idea and it's like, oh, I'm learning something through this TikTok and
Gross. Gross on a stick in a box. Ugh. All right, let's go to Jared in Detroit. Jared, bring us some good stuff, man, because that gives me the ugh.
Hi there. Thanks a million for having me on the show.
Thank you. 2 million. What's up, man?
So I'm a current college student. I'll be finished at the end of 2023.
What are you studying?
I'm 20 years old. I'm studying engineering, mechanical engineering.
Nice.
Excellent.
And then I just got married this past August as well.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you. So my wife and I we've consolidated our finances and we have about $30,000 to invest beyond all of our expenses and our emergency fund. And we're debating what we should do with that money. So I'll be finished with school in 2023, and we're debating if we want to continue to live in an apartment until my wife finishes school, or if we want to invest that money somewhere else. And so I'd like your advice on what we should do with that.
What do you want to do after 2023? Like 2024, what does life look like for you guys if you're just a dream?
So my wife will finish college in the spring of 2024. And from there, we have no idea where we'd like to live precisely, but I do have a really good position right now, and I see the strongest option for us to stay in the current area that we're in, especially because family is close. Yeah.
Okay. Well, Jared, if I were you guys, you're just in a lot of transition still from being in school. Mm-hmm. You guys just got married. There's a lot of moving pieces. And because of that, what life could look like, in the fall of 2024, 2 years from now, it's almost like you can't predict it because you guys have so many moving pieces. And yes, I know you kind of have a hunch that we may be staying close by. So if I were you, because how old are you guys?
So I'm 20 years old and my wife is 19.
Okay. Y'all are very sharp, very mature, very great at saving.
I didn't know what day it was when I was 19, Jared. Way to go, man.
To be that age and have this money saved.
Good grief.
So, Jared, if I were you guys, I would hang on to it. Okay. I'd hang on to that money. Make sure you guys get through school debt free. Make sure that you guys are continuing to live within your means. Like all of this stuff that you guys are doing, there's no rush, right? So, if I were you, I would save that because probably what's going to happen, you're going to probably end up saving more into that account. I would just put it in a money market account. And then I would probably think in 2 years, you guys are going to have an idea of where you're going to land and you're going to have a really nice down payment for a house. Yep. I would probably look at it as a future down payment, but I would not pull the trigger on that as of today because of this transition of just getting married and still in school, all the moving pieces. Renting right now, I know it feels like you're throwing money away, but it's a low risk. It's a low risk move. And I would just do that. I think you guys are okay for 2 years and you guys are going to be fine. So don't feel the urgency to be like, I have to invest this $30,000 into the market because we're going to lose building wealth, all that. You will get to that and you will be just fine. I promise
Jared,
you.
I'm not the picture of stability. Nobody's ever accused me of that. Right before my senior year in college, I had a plan on who I was going to marry. I had a plan on where I was going to be professionally. And I was in one city. And right when I graduated, right before I graduated, we broke up. I ended up in another state. Wow. And then a few months after that, I ended up going back to visit my parents and ran into my old high school track coach, who then we sat down and talked, and I ended up a high school teacher in yet another city in another state. And then I got back together with that person, and we've been married for 20 years. Why did I tell you that? You have no idea what the next 3 to 4 to 5 to 6 to 7 to 10 months looks like, okay? And so Rachel's wisdom is, again, you probably aren't going to get whiplashed around like I am because I'm pretty unstable.
Jared sounds.
He's an engineer.
Jared sounds like you now.
Yeah, probably. But sit tight. Maybe the thing that you need to practice over the next 6 months is breathing, laughing, go to a concert, go have fun. Live outside the spreadsheet a little bit and enjoy your life, okay? You're doing a great, great job. We'll be right back.
I say it all the time. If you're a business owner and you don't know your numbers, you don't know your business. And when markets are shifting, it's even more important. You've got to know where you stand so you make your next move the right move. And you don't have to be in the dark here. Over 31,000 businesses, including my team at Ramsey, know their numbers because they use NetSuite by Oracle, the #1 cloud financial system. NetSuite gives you visibility and control of your financials planning, budgeting, and inventory so you can manage risk, get reliable forecasts, and improve margins. Having everything in one place has saved my team hours each week since we made the switch to NetSuite. NetSuite is a game changer. So head on over to netsuite.com/Ramsey to get a product tour today. That's netsuite.com/Ramsey.
Triple 825-5225. This is the Ramsey Show. Let's go out to Jenny in Toronto, Canada. Hey, Jenny, what's up?
Hi there, John and Rachel. Thank you for taking my call today.
You got it. What's up?
A couple days ago, I found a deposit slip in my car my husband had left there that showed our small business account had over $6,000 in debt on it. And I was on the understanding that we were on baby steps 4, 5, and 6. I confronted him about it, and he said, "Oh, that's all overhead that have come up in the last couple weeks." And I went and I looked at his last business bank statement as well, and I saw that it was actually over $10,000 in small business debt since before August. And this is a pretty big issue for us because when we finished baby steps 3 at the end of August, I left my corporate job to stay home with our 2 kids. So he is very sensitive about this issue, got very defensive when I tried to talk to him. So it's just lying under the surface right now. So how do I talk to him, and do we use our emergency fund to pay off this debt?
2 things here. One, this has very little to do with debt. This has to do with you finding out that your husband stared you square in the eyes and lied to you.
Yes.
And it's about something that you two had both put your hands in and said, "Go team, we're all in this together." And then he went and did this. And so it's not like y'all had never talked about debt and you found a credit card. This is y'all are consciously working towards building a different kind of life. And then this happened on the side. And then he lied to you about it. Anytime something like this pops up, like all of a sudden out of nowhere, somebody goes and runs up 10 grand and is trying to move this shell over here and this shell over there. My inclination, right or wrong, is he's seeing somebody, or he's an addiction has gotten out of control. Is there any possibility of those 2 things?
I would have said no, but this has really shocked me. Really shocked me.
Yeah.
He's always been sensitive about finances because he took over a family business. This was family business, and there was debt associated with that, and he had to have some tough conversations with his mom, which he always is referencing, but I need to ask him some tough, straight-on questions about it. And I mean, jokingly, we had said, is there, who are you supporting? And he was just like, no, this is just overhead costs. This is what it takes to run the business.
Well, then your business is failing underneath you.
Right, yeah.
Right? And this isn't even like a capital expense. Like he went and bought a tractor for the farm. This is like paying light bills is what he's trying to tell you. Is that right?
Yeah. Yeah. And,
that's a failing
product
business.
And shipping fees and insurance fees. So, but it didn't add up.
So and that's the part that he didn't sit down and say, here's the receipts, here's where this is at. I shouldn't have done this. I screwed up. I got all these new invoices and I panicked and I just opened up a quick line of credit and paid this. That's not his response. His response was, you're crazy. You leave me alone. All I'm doing is this, right?
Yeah. It's always been a mess.
Yes.
It's not my fault. Yeah.
And there's a reason the word we use, and we're not trying to oversell it here. Here at Ramsey, we use the words financial infidelity because it's that level of violation. When you find out the home, the foundation of your home that you were walking on is suddenly not what you thought it was, right? And my guess here is there's something deeper here. Either he feels like he is the son that was supposed to keep his family business going, and he is unable to live in reality that this business isn't solvent, or he's seeing somebody, or like, and that's the problem with lying, right? Is it opens up every door and window in the house for scrutiny and questions. And so my experience has been when I have these type of conversations, and I haven't had to have them with my wife, but I've had to have them with coworkers before. I have to write it down. Otherwise I get pretty pissed off and I get pretty emotional. I get pretty fired up, and then I stop thinking, and then I get accusatory. And so I would write down, here's your concerns, here's your questions, and ask him directly. I need direct answers to these questions. And here's the overarching theme. I no longer feel safe in my home. I don't feel safe in my marriage with you because you have violated my trust. We're going to start there. And you get to feel, you're not going at him. You lied, you did this. We're talking about, here's how I feel right now. And he can't deny that.
Right.
Okay. If you think you need a marriage counselor or somebody in your community, a couple that you trust that can sit with you guys, that's cool. But if I was in your exact shoes, I would write these things down. Rachel, what do you think?
No, that's a great point. Yeah. And Jenny, I mean, like in this, if that had happened in my household, right? If I'm putting myself in your shoes, the business issues, the tactical side of the business, whether it's failing, like that's down the road. Like I'm going to worry about that. But I think talking to him about this is a marriage issue, because in his head he probably is, I would think, still functioning at the level of like, oh gosh, you found out about the debt, and it's still in a money sphere for him, possibly with possibly knowing, oh gosh, this might get worse and deeper. And I think you coming at it as my husband in our marriage, like forget the quote unquote money piece. It's what John said. It's the lying. Like you lied to me. And here's the facts of what I found. And we got to talk through this, because I have to get to a point again where we rebuild this trust, because man, this is not going to go well. This is not a good pattern. And that's hard, Jenny. Like that's a hard conversation to have. Do you guys, in your marriage, do you feel like have y'all been able to have like healthy conflict, if you will, in marriage? Like, do you feel like you have a voice in the marriage, all of that, or is this going to be like an out of character thing for him to experience you like this?
No, he's a good man, and when you said the thing about he's the son who has to carry on the family business and feeling that responsibility, something just went twang in my heart, because he said things like that before, like he has to keep it going.
Well, let's put one more on there. You came to him at some point a year ago, 6 months ago, and said, I'm ready to cash in all that I've worked for to get my high-paying corporate job, because I'm feeling that the next chapter of my life is going to be a stay-at-home mom. And he loves you so much, he's like, I'm all in. And wanted to do what he could to support your dream, just that maybe the math isn't working out. And so I can see a scenario where he started trying to do the best he could to keep your dream alive, the household's dream alive, or maybe he pressured you into quitting your job. Who knows? But that on top of, hey, we picked you, golden boy, to keep the family business going. And people do wild things when they start feeling pressure. And it may be that this is a conversation that he will weep from. He's been carrying this so long, there will be some peace in his soul finally. You know what I mean? Because shame, it's Brene Brown says, shame eats secrets for breakfast. Man, he's probably dying under the weight of this thing. And again, this is the best case scenario, right?
Yeah.
That he was such a good guy. He tried to find every avenue and ended up finding himself over his head, and then he started lying about it. Cool, we can work from that. Or worst case scenario, he's got somebody else, right? And he is blowing through money left and right. Who knows? There's just not another way to heal from this except right through the middle of it. And I would go in very clear what I was going to say and go in very much, here's how I'm experiencing this. Not you did and you did. Here's what I'm experiencing and here's what I'm about to do about it. unless we get real clear real fast. And we'll be thinking about you. If you get a moment, call us back and let us know how things went after this conversation. I'd like to follow up with our audience on it. Thank you so much for trusting us. This is The Ramsey Show. We'll be right back. This is The Ramsey Show. I'm John Deloney, joined here by Rachel Cruz, and we're taking your calls, 888-825-5225. Blinds.com's 100% satisfaction guarantee means even if you mismeasure or pick the wrong color, they'll remake your blinds for free. You get free samples, free shipping, and with the new promos they run every month, you'll save even more. Use promo code RAMSEY to get the best deal.
And today's question comes from Brenda in Missouri. My husband and I are 61, and we had a nice nest egg of investments. We worked with our financial advisor for 14 years, and he was someone that was trusted and did financial seminars at our church. He ended up embezzling all of our retirement investments. Oh gosh. And is now in prison, but we're left with nothing. What should we do? We're scared to death. Oh, Brenda. Oh my gosh. Well, I'm going to assume there's lawsuits and, action that's being taken.
The only thing I can think of is the two examples that come to mind are, one, again, this is third hand, but reading some of the Bernie Madoff losses, right? And they were left with nothing, and they had to start over. And then the people that I knew in Houston, where I grew up, that were overly, if not entirely, invested in Enron. And Enron went away, and they woke up. They went to bed millionaires. They woke up the next day with nothing. And they literally had to start over, and just had to go get a close friend, family who I actually love, was executive there, and then shortly thereafter was running a laser tag company. And was going to massage school. Just started over. We got to start over. So, this is one of those hard things that maybe you can have a lawsuit.
Salvage. I don't know if
it's insured, but I doubt it.
If you contact, who his license was with. You know what I mean? Sometimes that there's
some insurance or something.
Yes, some things in there within. I would dig into that, Brenda. But man, just to tell you to start over at 61 breaks my heart.
It does. It breaks my heart. And there is, unfortunately, my career has been, the majority of my career has been sitting down with folks when the worst of the worst has happened and saying, okay, this is reality. This is what has happened. What are we going to do next?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's maybe a hard conversation about, we got to go back to work, and both of us are going to have to work a lot just to try to get a little bit back as much as we can back in the system so that it can start earning.
Yeah.
And now's a tough season. Actually, now's a great season to be throwing money in the market because it's on sale, right? But if this is what I think it is, Brenda, I hate to be the guy to tell you, but it looks like y'all are going to be starting over. And it may be what you thought were the next 20 years. Between 61 and 81, y'all are going to be traveling the country. It may be between 61 and 81, y'all are working really hard. Or y'all are finding work in your local community. Y'all are maybe have to move. You've got to figure stuff out. Not by your hand, but in your lap. This happened. And we're going to have to call some old business contacts. We're going to have to crank up a small business. We're going to have to get a job in the local community. And just start saving again. This is just really heartbreaking. Rachel, do you have any other?
Yeah, no, that would be it. I would either go, the legal route and see where licenses are, where he's affiliated. Talking to all of that. But if there's not a safety net there and a catch-all and anything there, then starting over is what, I mean, that would be the case. That's like, so what do we do now with that reality? So I'm so sorry, Brenda.
All right, let's go to Robert in Tampa, Florida. Hey, Robert, what's up?
Hello.
How
are you guys today?
We're great, man. How are you?
I am well.
Good deal.
Kind of in a little bit of a dilemma, and I think I know the right answer, but my gut and my heart are differing in opinions.
My mind keeps telling me no. What do you think? What's up?
All right, so my wife and I were on steps 4, 5, and 6. We cleaned our mess up 10 years ago after we got married. We're in a good spot. A couple years ago, we decided to become foster parents. We are doing very well.
Awesome.
We're stable, so we started taking in kids. So as of Monday, we have 3 foster kids plus our daughter. Everything's going smooth. We get a phone call late at night. They just took 4 kids in. They need beds. Just you got a bed. So we took 2 of them. We took the 6 and the 7-year-old. So now we have them in our house. We have beds, and it's a mess. Fostering is difficult. It's really hard, especially when you first get the kids. But we've had them, but we're in a bit of a pickle. We want to keep them. We know that if we let these girls go, they're going to split and they're going to go to 2 different houses if they don't end up like group homes or sleeping in an office. We'd like to keep them. We have 1 car. We're a 1-car household. I work from home. I don't need a car. We don't have enough seatbelts. Now, from a financial perspective, like we're fine, right? We're on baby steps 4, 5, and 6. We have the emergency fund, the whole 9 yards. But in order to get a car with enough seatbelts, essentially we need to sell the one we have and go buy one. So we're looking at something, 2 or 3 years older than what we have, just trying to make it work. But when you start getting up to an 8-seat vehicle, even 10-year-old ones are kind of expensive, especially in this market. I have to bring money to the table, and I don't have enough cash to bring to the table to do it right now. So I'd have to dig myself like a 3-month-old debt. And I could probably clean it up in 3 months. It's not that bad. My gut says stick with your discipline. You're already helping 3 kids. Like, help yourself first, do it right, and then do what you can. But my heart says no, keep the girls.
Yeah.
And I don't really know where I'm at with this.
Yeah, and for you, Robert, is the 8 seatbelts the thing that would keep you from keeping the girls?
The licensing will not let me keep them if I can't transport them.
How much do you have in your emergency fund?
$30,000.
Go buy a van.
How much is your car worth now?
Probably like 15.
Yeah, go sell it and take 15 of that money and buy a $30,000 van to get you down the road. And it's not going to be a nice van. And
yeah, I mean, that's kind of where I'm at. Is like debt has been almost sacrilegious for the past
don't
7, 8 years.
You don't need to, Robert.
And let me challenge you on this. Who you are and what you are doing, you and your wife are doing, is second to none. Like you are the shining example of who we all could and should be in our communities. So I applaud you. And you have boxed yourself into a corner that I think is not an accurate representation of reality. You really want these girls. You do not have a guarantee they're going to get split up. They might, but the children's home that I was on the board of for several years they fought tooth and nail to keep kids together. And so you might want them, and that's how debt makes its way into our lives. When we really, really want something, usually it's a guitar or it's a fancy sports car. And in your case, you really, really want to love 2 young kids. Incredible. Sacrificing your values and your own mental health and your own anxiety because now you owe somebody money. I got to get this paid off. I got 7 mouths to feed. I got 8 mouths to feed. You know as well as we do that you're going to push a snowball off the top of a hill. It's going to go the other way. Right? You're going to start a cascade of things that are going to be very hard to wrap back up because you think you can do it in 3 months unless one of these kids has special needs, another kid has special dietary concerns, and then now we're down another road. And so I would, what I would do before I did anything is I would call a couple of friends. I've got a couple of buddies that I've reached out to in the past and said, hey, there's somebody in need. And before I can finish a sentence, they'll say, how much? And I'll say, I need $1,500 from each of you. And they've shown up every time. or call your local church and say, here's what I'm about to do, here's what I'm facing. $10,000 would make a huge difference in the lives of these two little girls, right? And here's the thing. You have become the hero to 3 kids, now 4 and 5 kids. Sometimes heroes have to ask for help. And I would make a phone call to some people in your life that you trust, or to your local congregation, and see if some people, give them an opportunity to step up too. But man, thank you for your heart.
You guys are doing amazing
just say
work.
no to debt,
It's
man.
incredible.
Just say no to debt. Nate, that's the first hour in the books here on The Ramsey Show. Stay with us. We will be right back.
Hey, it's Rachel Cruz, co-host on The Ramsey Show. If you want to do your debt-free scream live on the show, visit RamseySolutions.com/debt-free scream. We'd love for you to come to Nashville and tell Dave your story. That's RamseySolutions.com/debt-free scream.
Live from the headquarters of Ramsey Solutions, broadcasting from the Pods Moving and Storage Studio. What's up? It's The Ramsey Show, where America hangs out to have a conversation about your money, your life, your relationships, your work, your mental health, all of it. 888-825-5225. Whatever's going on in your life, we'll walk alongside you. Help you figure out the next right thing to do. That's what we're going to do. 888-825-5225. I'm John Deloney, joined here by Rachel Cruz, an extraordinary human being and easily the most brilliant person at the table, and we're taking your calls on...
By far.
Everything. All right, let's go out to Hannah in Frederick, Maryland. What's up, Hannah?
Hello. It's a privilege to talk to you guys. I've been growing up with all of the Ramsey everything my whole life, so it's an honor to talk to you both.
Well, it's an honor to talk to you. Thank you so much. What's up?
Awesome. So my husband and I are on baby steps 4 and 6, and we are just trying to figure out how best to prioritize different house upgrades that we want to do. Like maybe we want to add a garage, upgrade the kitchen, upgrade the HVAC, do other things to it. And we just don't know the best way to go about doing our list of things we want to do. So I was just looking for advice on that.
Yeah. Do you have a budget? Do you have money saved? Do you know what you're going to be working with financially?
Yeah. So we budget every month. We make, on a lower month, we make about $8,000. On a good month, because my husband also gets part commission, we go to about $11,000. So on average, we have about $1,400 to $2,000 or a little more extra to put toward whatever project we want to do.
Okay. And how much do you guys have saved now?
Right now,
beyond
we have
the emergency
about,
fund.
Yep, we have $2,900 saved.
Okay, awesome. Well, when you're asking about renovations, I mean, this is a large range, right? You could do, hey, I'm going to just paint the kitchen cabinets, put some new hardware, maybe get some new, appliances. And
Or I had somebody come give me a quote to do all the siding the other day, and it's very expensive, right? So it ranges.
So it's either like how much you want to DIY it, Hannah, and kind of just say, hey, yeah, here, or versus we're going to be tearing out walls and changing our house, floor plan. So all of that is going to vary in cost. So for you guys, I mean, it's not like you're working with $40,000, to go in and do it. So it's going to probably have some DIY aspects to it. Does that sound reasonable? Like that you feel like that's a good approach for part of it?
Yeah, we definitely expect we'll be doing DIY to it already. We renovated our bathroom and DIY'd the majority of it too.
Okay.
So we're definitely down to do that. We're just trying to figure out because if we want to save up and do a garage, but then if say that's $50,000, it takes us a couple years to build up for that. But then that's $50,000 we could have put toward the house and reducing the payment on that. So we're just
I see.
We could do this, but we could also do that instead. So
yep.
What's more important for you?
That's the stuff we're struggling on too. Because my husband would really like a garage, but then we look at what gets higher in the priority list. Like, say if the garage is $50,000, but that's also $50,000 we could have put toward the house. So I guess the higher the payment, the higher it gets for the project, the more we're leaning towards, let's just get this house done and out of the way.
How much do you have left on the house to pay it off?
We have $265,000.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, if I were, because I mean, you're in the baby steps that like you guys can enjoy some of it, right? Like this is, yes, we want you to pay off the house early for sure. But it's not like everything is gazelle intense towards paying off the house. So I would probably leave the high ticket price items, the garage, things that are like, pretty pricey. I personally would probably say, hey, that's going to be a dream after we pay off the house. Right. But these smaller projects to kind of still scratch that itch of like, we still kind of want to update the house. I would be okay with you doing, like you said, we just, redid a bathroom. I think that's great. So if there's things to the kitchen that you want to kind of redo, like I would pick maybe 2 or 3 projects that you guys can kind of cash flow in the next maybe 2-3 years. While also knowing how much you can pay, how quickly it's going to take to pay off the house. Because $265,000, I mean, that's going to take years for where you guys are at, which is totally fine. But I would want, if I was your husband and I wanted the $50,000 garage, and then you're telling me I want to pay off the house first, I need to know, like, when's the date that the house is going to be paid off? Like, give me a date. And if it, and honestly too, Kelly, if it feels, or Hannah, I'm sorry, if it feels so far off, like if you guys do the math and look at the house and be like, oh man, we're really going to want a garage sooner, then you guys, you can like continue to pay on the house extra. But if you wanted to keep setting some aside to save up for the garage, you can do that too.
Okay.
And Hannah, I'm just thinking, I'm trying to think of, I want a garage too. Okay. I have it all mapped out. It's going to have a secret tunnel that goes from the house, the whole thing. And when me and my wife sat down to discuss, like, hey, we've got to get a new roof. That's a thing we had to do, right? This air conditioner's about to go out. That's a thing we had to do. And then there's what do you want to do? I'd love to get a big, long retaining wall here. I'd love to do these things here. And it was the line, I'll feel safer when the house is paid off, that then kicked my butt into gear. That was a line that my wife used that I don't think it was a line. I think that was very true. I'll feel safer before we start spending $100,000 on this and $50,000 on this if we don't have a mortgage. And so over the last 24 months, man, I'm taking every speaking gig. I'm traveling all over the country. It motivated me to go above and beyond. And I think that conversation with your husband, what else can we be doing to accelerate this house payoff? And let's knock a year off this thing. We're going to be exhausted, but we're going to have no debt. And then we can build whatever we want to. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, that makes perfect sense. And that's kind of the lines we were thinking, and just trying to balance like paying off the house quickly, but also still having fun and doing other projects in the meantime. It's just, for us, is the hard thing is finding that balance in this stage right now.
Use real numbers and real data and go one project at a time. It's real easy. These things get very emotional and overwhelming.
And in your head, yes.
Yes. Okay, so how much is the garden going to cost? It's going to cost $3,000. Let's put that money aside and let's spend the next 3 months working on the garden, right?
Yep, totally.
And project by project.
Yes, right? For sure. So scratch the itch where you can, so you don't feel like you have to do the $50,000 garage. Or again, maybe you run the numbers and it's like, let's put all this little ones aside and maybe we pay extra on the house, we pay it off 5 years early and can do the garage around the same, like whatever the thing is, the combination is. But I think when you don't have a house payment though, to John's point, Hannah, there's just this like, oh wow, we really aren't attached to anyone.
Right.
Like nothing. Like,
or think about those $11,000 months, suddenly your garage takes 4 months to save up for.
Yeah.
Or 3 months
to
save up for.
That's right.
It goes real fast.
Yep.
You don't have a mortgage. Or you're not putting all of your money on top of that. 888-825-5225. This is The Ramsey Show. Give us a shout. We're here to talk. We'll be right back.
I love real estate, and I want you to have a house, but I don't want a house to have you. That's why you need to get in touch with Churchill Mortgage to make sure you do this right. These guys are awesome. They'll help you get on a smarter mortgage plan because they're committed to doing what's right for you. That means they check in every year with free consultations to help you stay on the right plan. They show you how to save money and interest so you can build wealth faster. They walk you through the total cost of your loan so you can make the best choice. Basically, they care. That's why we call them Ramsey Trusted. You can achieve debt-free home ownership, and Churchill is here to help. Go to their site, churchillmortgage.com/Ramsey, to start your approval or get more information.
Triple 825-5225. This is the Ramsey Show. Hey, every time you hear someone do their debt-free scream on the show, it's because at some point they said, I've had it. I'm not living like this anymore. And when you get mad like that and do what they did, your life will change too. And right now, inflation and credit cards and car payments and all this, it's killing you. You've been led to believe that you're not in control of your money, and that's wrong. You have to decide to control what you can control, and that's you, your thoughts and your actions. You have the power to change your future. And I know everyone is telling you that you can't do it, you can't do it. You can. And Financial Peace University will show you how. This course will teach you the proven step-by-step plan that's helped nearly 10 million people beat debt, master budgeting, and build wealth. And you can do it too. Guys, stop letting debt and money stress control your life. Say, I've had it. Take back your control. Start Financial Peace University at RamseySolutions.com/FPU. That's RamseySolutions.com/FPU. Let's go out to Kelly in Columbus, Ohio. What's up, Kelly?
Hi, guys. Thanks so much for taking my call.
You got it. What's up?
So, first of all, you're two of my favorites, so I'm kind of geeking right now. But my question
Tell Ken and George, please. And Dave.
No, don't tell him. So here's my question in short. Is it wise, especially now with the market, to pause on retirement to pay off our mortgage early? And I can kind of give you the details. We currently have a lot invested. I have my balance in the mortgage. I just want to, like the last caller, I just want to get it done. I would have so much peace knowing our mortgage is paid off, so we can do so much more.
How much do you own the house?
$198,500.
How long will that take you?
So what I'm thinking is if we pause on the retirement, we could free up about $1,100 a month. My husband still wants to keep that 3%, and just so they can continue matching it. So if we free up $1,100 and start paying that towards it, and then in about a year and a half, I'm going to be going full time, so I will be doubling my income. So after that time, we could put up to $2,500. So anywhere between $1,100 to $2,500 is my goal in the next couple of years. I'm thinking we can have it paid off in 5 or 6 years if we're really intense.
I wouldn't do it for 5 or
Kelly,
6 years.
No.
Yeah. If you told me you're going to have it paid off in 18 months, maybe.
Okay.
Right now, the stock market's on sale. Like, this is a time to be putting money in because it's low.
Right.
Right.
Well, let me tell you that we have currently, last time we looked at it was January. We have a little over $400,000 in investment between Roth IRA and 401k, and we're 45 and 46. So
you're fine.
I don't know if that changes things.
No, it doesn't. In fact, it causes me to tell you not to stop retirement. Like, that would be even more of a reason to continue to put it in. And I hear you, Kelly. Like, I know, and I think one of the best things is that you're not going to be touching this money for another 20 years, and the world is going to look a whole lot different in about 15, 20. Will look different in 15 and 20 years than it does now. So I think wringing your hands and being nervous about what the market's doing to long-term investments is doing you no good, honestly. And I'm in this stuff every day. We talk about money day in and day out. And I don't know. I look once a year and I see what the market's doing on the news. I mean, I keep up with current events and what's happening, but I'm not looking at my personal because it probably would make me sick. You're like, oh God. But then I also know I still have confidence that it's going to come back. I mean, the market that you've invested in, it has a long-term track record. Okay. And so if you believe, which part of my conspiracy theory heart might a little bit, that like it's all we're screwed and all of that, right? But the logical side of me is like, it's not. The economy's going to come back. We're going to have, many more presidents in office. I mean, life is just going to look different. And so if I was 45, I would be putting money in retirement while, again, paying off the house. It's the baby steps, going back to those basic principles. But yeah, Kelly, I would continue to do what you're doing. I would still fund 15% because I'm telling you, I think 60-year-old Kelly is going to have a paid for house and a lot in retirement, and she's going to be happy. She's going to be good.
Yeah.
Okay.
I know it's not what you wanted to hear, Kelly.
And I appreciate your enthusiasm to get the mortgage paid off. I hear that.
Yeah, for sure.
But the hard thing would be, hey, what if you guys looked up at 60 and thought, God, the house is paid off. We could retire, but we can't. We have to work another 5 years to make sure our nest egg is big enough when you could have been putting money away starting now. And that's what the market is like. The compound interest and the money's going to work for you. And that's what I love about investing. Even though I know it's down, I hear you. But again, it's going to change long term.
Can I tell you something that happens in my life, Kelly? And this maybe this is yours. Whenever I really, really want something, I am somehow able to find proof of what I want and why I should do it or have it all over the place. And so whenever I look at the track record of the last 100 years, which is, that's what I got, the data shows that after a recession, a big one, a small one, the market comes roaring back. And it is roaring back up at a pretty significant clip. When I really, really want to do something with my house, I'm able to talk myself into, at some point it all comes down. At some point it all just implodes, right? And I can spin myself up and make withdrawing all of my money from the market the single most rational act I do in a day, right? And so I'm with Rachel. I looked at it for the first time like in 2 or 3 years the other day, and my Smart Investor Pro, he's a buddy of mine, and all I did is I looked at it and I was like, whoa, and I texted him and I was like, bang up job you're doing with the market, and he, you know what he wrote me back? I told you, don't open that, right? Because I'm irrational. And so I've already made the decision, the long-term decision. I'm not gonna pull money out of this thing. And as my friend Todd, who's one of my best friends on the planet, and he's a finance guy, and he said, John, I don't have a meteorite plan. I don't have a plan for if the whole monetary system implodes and collapses, because at that point we're shooting
my house with all my water and my canned goods. I'm just kidding.
Here's what we're going to do. We're going to storm Rachel's house and steal all her canned goods, right? So that's what we're doing. If that moment comes, I'm going to deal with that moment when it gets here.
Right,
I'm going to spend most of my energy living in the present.
I know. And that's where when I go down these rabbit trails, then I do think, okay, literally, if the dollar collapses and everything, I'm not even going to be looking like, here, take gold. I need gold. I'm going to be like, where's bread? Give me food and give me bottles of water. At that point, it's all off. All bets are off.
My buddy said, he goes, we have a bad habit of looking at future calamity through our current. He's like, you're not going to be driving to work, right?
That's right.
And you're not going to be trading coffee and bullets for gas so you can get to your job in the air conditioning. He's like, you're going to be fighting your neighbor to not shoot your dog for food. And I remember that was the line. I was like, oh, yeah. If it melts down,
if the world goes down,
it melts down. So, like, could that happen? Yep. And we're not
going to be having this discussion.
No.
It's going to be like survival of the fittest.
That's right. So
I know. And I was made for that time. I'm ready for it, John.
If I were to line up all of my closest friends and put them in order of who could survive that, you would not be at the top. You would not be at the top. Like 7 days without lip gloss is going to be a rough.
That is not the case.
That is that is not the case.
I will be the connector of the villages that I have to be like, here. You know, Franklin, Brentwood, Tennessee.
You're going to bring them together?
We used to be able to get to each other in 15 minutes. Now we have to walk, and I can be the connector. I will.
Do you do a lot of connecting in your regular life?
I talk a lot for my job, so I just feel like that's what I'm good at.
Oh, I see. Because some on the internet would suggest we are highly divisive. But when it all goes down, we're going to flip the switch, and Rachel's going to bring us together. That's awesome.
So Kelly, just keep on investing. That's the moral of the story.
Well, hey, Kelly is all of us, right? All of us who's looking at the news, who's terrified of the state of things. And some
fear
people
doesn't get you anywhere.
It gets you nowhere. You make bad decisions when you're fearful. That's why I got a buddy that I call. That's why people call us, right?
Yep.
Like, hey, I'm about to make a dumb decision. And they go, whoo, don't do that, right? Because we don't make good decisions when we're scared. So thanks for trusting us, Kelly. Hate to be the one to burst your bubble, but stay on the plan. Stay on the plan. We'll be right back.
If you're looking for ways to update your home without blowing the budget, I've got it. For years, I've been telling you about our friends at Blinds.com. Blinds.com makes it simple to shop top quality blinds, shades, and interior shutters from home with easy online ordering and free shipping. With Blinds.com, there's no need to renovate your entire home. Just change out what's on your windows with upscale choices like faux wood blinds, cellular, and roller shades, or even outdoor shades. Plus, Blinds.com guarantees the perfect fit, whether you do it yourself or you have them measure and install everything for you. Shop their latest looks and see how much you can save at Blinds.com today. The easy and affordable way to make your home more beautiful is Blinds.com.
Triple 8-825-5225. This is the Ramsey Show. Let's go out to Portland, Oregon, and talk to Travis. What's up, Travis?
How you doing, sir? Man, first, I just want to thank you so much for your time, and I have the utmost respect for you. So thank you guys very much for taking my question.
You got it. Y'all got a big election happening right now, huh? Or coming up?
Yeah, for sure. I try to stay away from the news because it gives me a headache.
Oh, dude, this is what mental wellness looks like. Way to go, Travis. So what's up, brother? How can we help?
Thank you. So my wife and I are on baby step 2. We started out with $102,639 in debt, and that was car loans, student loans, things like that. We're down to $27,000 now.
Wow,
and,
great job.
Yes. Thank you. And we had something happen in our family, and due to that, I made a emotional purchase, which I'm sure you guys have heard about before. And I just kind of want to know what you guys think I should do from here.
Sure. I've never personally made one of those ever. Jeez. Like I think I did yesterday. What happened, man?
So we have 2 beautiful daughters and a son. And in 2020, in the beginning of 2020, my wife was pregnant with our first son, and we began to have some pregnancy complications. She went on bed rest for 6 weeks, and he was born in April of 2020, and unfortunately did not survive, and it was the hardest thing my wife and I have ever gone through.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Man.
Thank you. And I'll just get to the question part. Due to that, it just kind of made me think about time not being guaranteed and memories not being guaranteed.
Yep.
And one thing I really wanted to do with my son was camp and things like that.
Yep.
So I purchased a camper for $17,000. I'm sorry for being emotional.
No. Dude, you don't have to apologize to us. We're 2 parents too, man. We're emotional with you, brother. Take your time, man.
That's pretty much my question. I'm on a loan for $17,000, so I know I'm kind of going backwards on my baby step.
When did you buy this camper, brother?
Like 3 months ago.
Okay. Oh, so just recently.
Yeah.
Okay. So you sat. Y'all have been picking up the pieces for the last 18 months or so.
I'm sorry. Say that again, sir.
Y'all have been picking up the pieces and figuring out what's next.
Oh yeah.
The past 18 months, 2 years.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and we're doing financially great, so that's not an issue. I just kind of was like being impatient, I guess, and kind of going back to like, I just don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, and I'm kind of fearful of the future now. So that's why I did it now, because I just don't know what's going to happen. That's kind of why I did it. My rationale.
Yeah. So I'll say this: I don't blame you for a second, and I get your heart is good and your impulses. I get them. I would tell you, this is one of the great benefits of a plan. This is one of the great benefits of having people that you trust. When we are deep in grief, or we find ourselves telling ourselves stories about tomorrow, our bodies get spun up, and we start trying to solve problems in immediate ways that aren't always the wisest long term. And so you've bought it. How long is it going to take you to pay it off?
I could probably pay it off in a couple of years if I was hard at it, or even less. Okay. We do okay financially.
Okay. I just camped out the other night with my son in a tent. And so it sounds like you boxed yourself into it's going to be this or it's going to be nothing. If I don't do this now, I'm going to miss out on more time with my other 2 kids. Or my other 3 kids, and you've created a narrative that somehow the lack of time you got to spend with your other child was your fault. You've created a narrative that it's all a vapor, and it is, but it's just not a vapor tomorrow. Be honest with me. Would you be more at peace with yourself if you sold this camper? You took a lump because you're gonna lose a little money on it. Would you feel better getting back on track?
Yeah, I think that'd be I don't want to agree with you, but you're probably right.
No, I'm asking you. I'm not telling you this is what you should feel. I'm asking you. I impulse. This is a shame to say this. We have a Battle of the Bands event here, and the other day I was visiting a friend at a guitar shop, and I impulse purchased a guitar that for one night of 15 minutes. Right, it was ridiculous, and then I had to cash for it. It was budget is fine, but I feel guilty over that. I'm like, what are you doing, man? What a dummy. You know what I mean? And that's just my self-talk to myself. I would be more at peace if I didn't have that right now. The show would have been just fine without it. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do.
Travis, how much do you guys make a year?
We're at 96 right now.
You're at 96. Okay, the $27,000 in debt that you were talking about, does that include the $17,000 of the camper, or is that in addition to?
That's in addition to. My wife has student loans from before.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you guys you'll owe $44,000 if you keep the camper. It's not ideally you wouldn't take on the extra debt. And so I would, if I were you, Travis, I would run some numbers and just see, okay, what if I did sell it today? What kind of hit do I take? How quickly would we be able to get out of debt with the other $27,000? Like I would run some scenarios, run a scenario where you sell it and how quickly you guys can get out of debt, and talk through that, kind of live in that moment if you can, and say, okay, how would that feel?
Yeah.
And then run another scenario where you keep it, because it's not, you make 96. It's not like it's a $80,000, right. Run a scenario where you pay it off. Keep it and pay it off, and see how long that takes you, and talk to your wife and say, okay, how does that feel? So the goal for us on the show is to become debt free as quickly as possible, not just for the financial sake, even though there's a lot of benefits to that. When you keep your income, you're able to save more and give more and invest more. But there's an emotional piece too, Travis, to that when you don't owe anyone anything. John talks about this. There's a safety that happens even in your brain. Like I'm safe because I'm not attached to something. I don't owe someone something. And there's a level of peace and a level of rest you get when you're not a slave to the lender, right? The borrower's slave to the lender is what Proverbs says. And that there's truth to that. And so that's one of the benefits of getting out of debt. Yes, the financial piece is huge, but there's also an emotional piece. And you guys are going through a lot of emotional pieces in your life. since losing your son. And so to me, there's almost this burden that gets lifted off. It's one less thing I have to worry about as we continue to grieve what happened to us 2 years ago. So almost as a mom, I want the least amount attached to me on things that I don't really need in my life, to just have the weights off of it. Does that make sense? The lighter I can be in life, that's what I'm looking for. That's completely on an emotional sense. And I'm not the Dr. Junkin speaking if that's correct or not, but like, that's how I would feel, I think. So talk through that with your wife. You know what I mean? Like the camper, love it, hate it. Sure. You bought it, maybe an emotional purchase. Give yourself grace. That's okay. That's okay. Like just give yourself some grace, because you guys have been walking through a lot of hard stuff. But I think that there is, some decisions that could be made here in the next month to say, hey, what can we do to get us further where we want to be? And so another thing to remember, Travis, too, is that this isn't the only camper, right? Like if you guys decided to sell it in 4 years, you can buy something awesome and continue it, So just some things to think through. I don't want to give you just like a hard, fast thing. If I were you, I'd probably sell it, because I would want to be out of debt as quickly as possible. And that's, and that's what we talk about on this show, and you called us, so we're going to give you that. But
and Travis, let me tell you this. Yeah. We often, as adults, we think of parenting as these big flag in the ground moments. What our kids talk about at our funerals is the way we made them feel every day when they got home from school. They remember the times we were being goofy in the car on the way to church every Sunday. They might remember a trip here or there. They might remember the funny camping thing, but they'll remember Dad always included us in stuff. And so don't think that your parenting, that your memories are wrapped up in these big things. We got to go on a camper. We got to go. Man, 10 out in the backyard a few nights. Your kids will remember that. We'll be right back. Triple 825-5225. This is the Ramsey Show. Let's talk for a minute about how much there is so much fear in the media right now. You turn on the TV, you open social media, you hang out with Rachel Cruz. It's everywhere. But here's the thing. There is still hope. It's still possible to get out of debt, and it's still possible, hold your hats, boys and girls, it's still possible to build wealth right now. Our Building Wealth live events walk you through a simple but proven plan that will help you save money, build wealth, and make smart decisions in this bonkers economy. It is possible. Join me, Dave Ramsey, Rachel Cruz, Ken Coleman, and George Camel for a night of hope and normalcy this spring. We'll be in Indianapolis on February 16th, in Austin, Texas, February 23rd, and in Anaheim on May 2nd. Tickets start at $39. And listen, our fall event sold out in days, so you don't want to wait. We've already met people here today in the lobby that have already bought their tickets for some of these shows. Visit RamseySolutions.com/events to get your seats today. All right, let's go to Lisa in Newport, Washington. What's up, Lisa?
Hi. Question about taking money out of 401k. My husband had a job for about 25 years, got laid off during COVID, got 2 years of school paid for. We were able to make it through the 2 years without going into debt. We only have a mortgage. We have about $40,000 of the emergency fund, but we want to pay off the house because now he got hired by his interning, but we're only making... We've been cut 40 to 50% of our income, and we've adopted 6 kids. So we're old, but we have a 6, a 7, and 8-year-old. So we still have a long way to go. But with money getting so tight, I'm getting a little concerned with, paying our not losing our house, and we still have 6 kids to raise. We've already raised our older 4. And so,
okay, so
what do you suggest?
Yeah, talk me through, Lisa, you said that your pay was cut in half? Your time for work was cut in half?
So he was laid off because of COVID.
Yeah.
And he was there probably 24, 25 years. And the company is closed.
Okay.
And so because of the layoff, they did pay for 2 years of school. And so he finished school in 2 years, and we were able to do that without any debt. Unemployment, we cinched our belts. We know how to squeeze a penny. And so now the job market is probably about 60% of what we were making. And before, he had so much overtime that we don't have that anymore.
Okay.
What does he do, Lisa?
Machinist.
Okay.
And what did he go to school for?
He actually got a higher degree in the machining because we're older, we're in our mid-50s. To start something new, he wanted to monopolize on his experience already.
Okay.
And machining was out there, but then he learned the computer part of it.
But the skill he went to school and learned is worth half of what his skill was before he got educated?
Right now, yeah. He had an internship, and they hired him, and they said, well, this is all we can pay you. And so he wants to finish the year out with his commitment, and then we need to start looking for a better job. But
yes, because this sounds like a guy who got hit in the mouth by a company that he dedicated a quarter of his life to, and that he gave everything to, and then he found out the hard thing that millions and millions of people found out, that he got up and went to work one day and he found out, oh, this thing's a vapor, it's gone, I'm expendable. And that has the psychological research suggests that is as damaging as losing a spouse, as losing a family member. And to come back and take whatever somebody says he's worth, that is 60%. Here's the deal. One is that 60% of what he was making. But two, it's not enough to keep his house afloat. Right? And so it's not tenable. And I know he wants to keep his commitment and he wants to do these things. It just doesn't, I don't know, man. It feels like a mess.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at money, Lisa, it flows 2 ways, right? It flows in and it flows out. So those are the 2 ends of the equation that you can control. And the money flowing in, is almost cut in half, like what you were saying. And so I would question, okay, what else is out there with his experience, what he's done, the line of work that he's been in. I mean, he is marketable. I understand it may not be exactly what he's been doing, but I would look to see if there's any other job, because at this point, you have to pay your bills, right? So bringing in that money, and the other side is the expenses. So do you guys have a lot of consumer debt? Where are you guys at financially?
We have no debt other than just our mortgage, and luckily we had emergency fund.
Oh, 40,000, right? Yes.
And we still have that cash 40,000 emergency fund. I did take, it was at 50, but I took about 10 because I'm trying. My goal was to have the house paid off in 2024, but then 2 years hit us. So I'm trying, now that he is working, I'm trying to at least, I do a few things extra and I'll put some money, or I'm trying to still punch down that principal, because we owe 130. Well, 138 actually on the house.
Okay. And what's he making now with the lower salary?
He's probably making around 50, 55. And at times with overtime, we were actually up to about 100.
Yeah.
But he might have to go work overtime at a second job.
Yeah. Well, we have really difficult, we adopted really difficult kids, and his presence is pretty necessary.
I get that, but listen, Lisa, y'all have created a world that math can't support.
Yeah.
Y'all adopted 6 kids because y'all have hearts of gold. You're great human beings. And you've paid off your house like crazy. You got yourself out of debt because y'all are disciplined and done hard work. And then life happened.
But our house is not paid off yet.
I know, but y'all are working really, really hard.
Down,
it's paid it way down.
I see.
Right? And then he went and got educated to get an even better job, and then went and took the first one he could get at half of what he was previously valued before he was educated. And so, and he worked a lot of overtime, and now we want him at home. Here's what you have to do. Something's going to give. Something's going to have to give. And Rachel and I have taken too many calls over the years where the thing that gave was the mortgage. They came and took your house. The thing that gave was somebody's health. And so at some point we have to sit down and have a really hard conversation. I know you want to ride the year out. We can't afford for you to ride the year out. I really, really need you here, but what I needed more is not the electric and gas not to get shut off.
Yeah, I know, especially right now.
You know what I mean? So I need you. You're gonna have to get a second job, and you're 50-something years old. We didn't have this drawn up this way, sitting how we drew it up. This is when the house was gonna be paid off. We're gonna be living our life, and here we are. Right? We have to acknowledge and own reality before we.
And also, Lisa, I don't want this to be your reality for the next 7 years either.
Right,
and so there has to be a change either with his full-time job or your situation. I mean, if it's something as drastic as downsizing a home so that the bills can be manageable with his salary, like there has to be a give somewhere.
And to answer your original question, no, don't borrow from your future to keep yourself afloat today. Have the hard life change. Don't. If you pull money out right now with as down as the market is, you are locking in forever those losses. Don't do it. Don't do it.
Would you take that emergency fund down to the original start over in baby steps and punch it into the mortgage?
Well, I wouldn't, Lisa, just because of because
it's not sustainable.
Once that money's gone, it's gone, and nothing else has changed. So other things need to change besides the emergency fund. It's there if the safety net of, oh God, like we really can't make the house.
The roof blows off.
Yes, that we have it there, but I don't want that to be a bucket that you dip out of for your lifestyle choices or your lifestyle expenses, I should say. So I would do whatever I can on that income and expenses side of the equation. Something has to give, like John said. Because once that $40,000 runs out, what are you going to do? Then you're in a big mess. So no, keep that safety net afloat and find other ways where you can cut or bring in more money. I'm sorry, Lisa, but you guys are doing incredible work though with these 6 kids. So
and you have to just live with math because it doesn't change. Thank you so much for loving your community. Thank you. This is another hour in the books. We'll be right back on the Ramsey Show. Hey, it's John Deloney, co-host of The Ramsey Show. Did you know over 18 million people listen to The Ramsey Show every week? A lot of those people listen on one of our 600-plus radio stations across the country. To find a station near you, go to RamseySolutions.com/show. Live from the headquarters of Ramsey Solutions, broadcasting from the Pods Moving and Storage Studio. What is happening, America? It's the Ramsey Show. We're hanging out to have a conversation about your life, your mental health, your relationships, your work, and your money. I'm John Deloney, joined here by one of the greatest people you will ever know, Rachel Cruz, and we are taking your calls live, 888-825-5225. It's 888-825-5225. Let's go out to Gretel in Fargo, North Dakota. What's up, Gretel?
Hi. Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon to you. What's happening?
Well, I got married to a guy who got divorced, and it was, the divorce was fine, but I found out right after I got married to him that the divorce paper had been so unfair with all the debts that she put in towards my husband's name, which he didn't know. And he agreed with it just for peace and stuff. And like the student loan they made together during their marriage was put on all to his name. And for the past 5 years, we've had quite problems with every year. She is homeschooling the boys, and she wants us to help with homeschooling. Well, as far as I know, and what is written in the divorce, or like generally, child support should cover education. and other stuff. And that's what's in the court system in Minnesota says. And but now me and my husband decided that we should not help her with the finances. Like, she wants us to pay $200 a month toward homeschooling. And I told my husband that instead of putting it in cash, then let's put it towards the boys. Like, we spend more time with them so we could have more time, because we see them hardly ever at all. And even though in the divorce paper it's just supposed to say every weekend, but she's taking them most of the time. So I said, instead of that money giving towards her, well, the divorce paper had been unfair, so it's just fair enough that we put the money instead towards seeing the boys, and then she could,
Okay, Gretel.
Yeah. What's your question,
she
hon?
could save with what is that, like food and stuff.
Yeah, Gretel. What's your question?
Yeah, the question is are we morally obliged to fund this woman? Like, is it okay to financially support her because she is in financial struggle right now?
Okay.
And to me,
So first, we're going to follow the divorce decree. And what the divorce decree tells us to send, we're going to send. You, as the new wife, can look at the divorce decree that your grown-up husband signed and say this wasn't fair. But you choosing to waste 1 second of energy being upset about that is a choice you are making to be miserable. Don't do that.
Yeah.
You married in. It's what is. And we're going to pay it off because that's what we all agreed on in court. Or that's what he agreed on in court.
Yeah, we paid off. We paid off everything.
Good deal.
And,
good deal.
Yeah. And
so hold on. I am way more. I'm way more concerned when I'm thinking about the health and wellness of these kids outside of the four walls.
Yeah.
I'm way more concerned that when they're 14, 15, 17, 18, one of them's going to look their father in the eye and say, "Hey, the court said you could visit me every weekend. Why didn't you fight for me?" And so
that's the thing.
No. Like, that's a choice y'all make. And no, I would not do things above and beyond the court order unless we sat down as 3 adults, or if she's remarried, and agreed on, hey, there's been some different needs, and if we can be adults about it, great. And if we can't, then we'll go back to court and see what we need to do. But no, somebody can't just say, hey, by the way, I decided to do a new thing. You got to give me more money. That's not how that works. That's why the court has a decree that everybody agrees to and everybody follows. If your kids are suddenly unsafe, or your husband's kids are unsafe, they are in a home where they're not eating, there's not heat, there's not basic necessities, then y'all have to step in, and you probably have to get an attorney to help you with that. And this isn't about winning, and this isn't about punishing her. This is about taking care of those kids. And I'm saying if she's in financial straits and needs to start charging you guys for $200 every month for homeschool, it doesn't make any sense to me. But here's what I want to do. I want to start this whole conversation by, we're going to follow the divorce decree. We're going to follow what the thing says. I'm going to go get my kids every single weekend. And if you don't want to give me my kids, then I'm going to take you to court because those are my children and I'm going to see my kids. I'm going to pay the child support every single month as written. I'm going to take care of it. If you come to me as an adult and say, hey, there's some specific needs and here's it, but you getting $200 here, we're going to put it in this account over here and we're going to do it. That just makes this whole thing a mess. Don't do that. Follow the plan as it's written first. Let's do basics. And then if y'all want to have adult conversations about specific needs beyond that, and y'all can all 3 agree to be adults, cool. And if you can't, great. Then let's move on.
Through your experience, John, working with families, blended families, what percentage, and I guess that doesn't matter, what qualities do people have that make this kind of situation like really good for the kids versus putting them in the middle and it you know what I mean, destroys them? Like what are the things that she, Gretel, and her husband, things that they can be doing for themselves to grow and say, hey, we want to become healthier for this situation?
Yeah.
What are those characteristics that you see within families that do it really well?
almost without exception, they choose, we're going to be very adult-minded about this, and every bit of our energy is going to be focused on what's the greatest environment we can make for these children. And that means I'm going to put down my jealousy every time I see her with her new husband. I'm going to put down my insta rage that comes over me every time I see him with that woman he cheated with me on. Now they're married. Because going to war after court, going to war during court, it helps nobody. And then this situation, what's happening here is these children are becoming pawns. It's a way potentially for ex-wife to get some more money.
Yeah.
It's a way for them to, she's not following this, so I'm going to do that. You cannot use your kids as weapons. You can't. I have been astounded over the last, 15, 20 years, watching adults be adults. Like, I've learned from watching divorced couples say, yeah, we were married and we were in love and we had plans and it didn't work out. And we have 3 kids. And so we meet every month to talk about what's going on in our life. We're able to be civil at child conferences. We all show up because we're grown-ups.
Yep.
And we are sad in the car, but we're adults. And, dude, it's beautiful when people choose to put maturity above
what I want in the moment. Yep.
Yes.
Good.
Be adults, everybody. Be adults. We'll be right back. Hey, this is the Ramsey Show. I'm John Deloney, joined here by Rachel Cruz. It really helps us out. You don't have to buy anything. It takes 13 seconds. If you will do us a huge favor, share the show. And yes, it is self-serving. It helps our ratings and all that. If you leave a 5-star review, if you just hit the subscribe button. But here's why I'm asking you to do that. It kicks up the show in the algorithms, and it puts specific calls, it puts debt-free screams, it puts those moments that people are craving, those moments that can push somebody over the edge and say, now is the time to change my life. It will put it in their podcast feed if we get more 5-star reviews. It puts it in on YouTube, on their YouTube channel. It kicks it up more if you will go subscribe. So it's a no-cost way to support the show, but more importantly, to help put this show in front of other people who need it. The life-changing advice, the life-changing plans that we offer folks. Thank you so much for being with us, and thank you for helping out your neighbor by leaving positive reviews and by hitting the subscribe button wherever you consume this show. All right, let's go to Cameron in H-Town. Go Stros. What's up, Cameron?
Hello. Thanks for having me. I'm 62 years old. I was fortunate to retire 2 years ago. In that time, I gave my 2 adult daughters $60,000 apiece to buy houses, so they're set.
Wow.
I have $450 in an IRA. I have a paid-off house worth about $250. I have 2 new vehicles, and everything's paid for. The IRA, my wife is the beneficiary. The house is in both my wife and my name, and cars are both our name. Do I need a will just yet? I'm thinking I can wait till one of us are gone and then line it up. But the way things are set up right now, everything, I feel, if I go, she gets everything. What do you think? I need a will?
I think you needed a will 25 years ago. And here's where I'm coming from on that. One, I was the dean of students at a law school for 5 or 6 years. I forgot how, about 5 years. And I got to have a ringside seat to what happens in probate court, what happens when relatives come out of the woods, when kids sue their parents, when cousins sue their aunts. It's madness. And so you have done an incredible job financially. Here's the second thing. I have spent a chunk of my career doing death notification, showing up with police officers in the middle of the night when somebody's lost their spouse, when somebody's lost a child. And the number of times I've had a spouse look at me and say, I don't know what to do next. I don't know where stuff is. I don't know where the paper is. I don't know where this is. I don't know who to call. And a will helps consolidate all of that information into a single place. And it also, you have conversations about what do you want your funeral to look like? Where do you want to be buried? What do you want these things? And those are not pleasant conversations. They're not fun. We've had them so many times in my house. Now it's just become routine. But it's absolutely. It gives the executor of the will, if you were to pass away tomorrow and your wife is grieving like she's going to and doesn't know what day it is, it gives the people that you care about in your life an opportunity to walk in and say, okay, here's what happens first, here's what happens second, here's what happens third. It helps direct the courts. It just cleans
It just makes it all easier.
up.
Yeah.
Okay?
And Cameron, and God forbid something happened to you and your wife together, right? You would probably want this stuff to be passed to your kids at that point. So it just gives direction, and it takes out a lot of the hoops and stuff that people will have to jump through with your assets. And so it makes it smoother. And too, Cameron, they're not that expensive. You can get, state specific wills. Mama Bear Legal Forms is a great website. You can do an online form, especially if it's not a complicated estate. You can just do a will online, pay some money and it's done. Like, it's not that expensive.
And that's what I did mine, Cameron. I did mine with Mama Bear Legal Forms. It's a simple will. I don't have a lot. And it's straightforward, just very similar to your situation, except you got way more money than me. It's just straight across the board, and it's simple. And it just says it goes to here.
Just get it notarized and go in the safe.
Sir?
Get it notarized, do it online and get it notarized, or do I go to a lawyer?
Just go to mamabearlegalforms.com and follow the process there, and it'll just walk you right through it. Or if you've got a buddy who's an attorney at your local church and they can work. I mean, there's a bunch of ways to do it. I did it with Mama Bear because it's a sponsor on the show. It's a group that we've had a relationship with a long time.
And they make it very easy.
And they make
That's one reason
it was so easy. I've had a super complex will with 7 different parts and all this one was very simple and straightforward. And that's why I went with it. My wife did it too.
Yep. So just, follow that. They direct you, basically hold your hand through this process because it's a weird process.
It's super weird.
Creating your will and all that. But Cameron, you've done a fabulous job, and this just is one of those safety net things that's just really wise. So, yeah, it's something that we tell people all the time. It's stuff you don't want to think about, but life insurance and a will are two things. And you need life insurance if someone is dependent upon your income. You need life insurance. Even you stay-at-home moms out there, you need life insurance on you, because if something happens to you, then dad has to sit there and say, okay, who's going to help with the kids? How are we going to keep life afloat? And so, man, that is the one thing. I'm like, if everyone out there could have term life insurance, we've heard just the horror stories on this show of people that pass on sudden things and then the spouse is, has nothing, and they have to go and go back to work, maybe plug back in when they weren't. I mean, it's heartbreaking in the midst of like a really, really hard time. So term life insurance, our friends at Xander recommend them. And getting that, and everyone needs a will, because again, it's not that expensive, and it just makes all of this so much easier when you have a legal document that says here's where everything is. It just makes it smoother. And
I'll take it one step further, Cameron. If you haven't already, you sound like somebody that probably has already done this. But for everybody listening, keep that something that you update once a month, once every 3 or 4 months, once a quarter. And I'm behind on mine, so I got to go do it. Keep on a single piece of paper somewhere where everyone in your home knows where it is, all of your passwords, where the bank account is, where the information is, so that if something who to call. So if something happens to you, it's as easy as possible. Here's what we're going for. 100% of us pass away, Rachel. What we're going for is, can I set my wife up in a situation where when I go, she has the blessing to just spend some time grieving? She doesn't have to spend time wondering how she's going to eat. She doesn't have to spend time wondering
who's the insurance agent.
Who's
Was
the
there
person,
a policy? We don't know. Yep.
It's all right here.
Yep.
And she gets the blessing and privilege of just being sad for a long time.
Yes.
And that's what we're going for here.
And you know what, John? It's funny. I'm in my mid-30s, so both of Winston's parents and my parents, both active, working, living life. It's great. Both, which applause to them, have set us all down as separate families, right? We have with the Ramseys, and then the Cruzes have done the same with us. And Winston's parents, every other year, they sit down with the grown kids and they say, hey, here, and his dad does that. He hands over a sheet of paper and it's everyone imaginable. And then he has another list of the financial. I mean, they are so open because it's like, and then we go through scenarios. Mm-hmm. If something happens to me, if something happens, to my mother-in-law, if something both happens, here's, and who's on the will, who, yes. I mean, it's all right there. And then the Ramseys, we've done the same thing. We do it once a year. And it's like, and as an adult child, I'm so thankful. So all of you in your 60s and 70s who have adult children, have these conversations. Yeah. And I know it's awkward. It's weird. It's terrible. The Ramseys, we've done it for so long, and we call it the When Dave Dies meeting, which is so terrible.
My dad was a homicide detective. He's like, hey, I'm going to die. So so in our house, I've had to be careful that not every family talks like we do.
Totally,
right?
totally, yeah. I know.
But last Christmas, my dad brought the updated will in an envelope, and he goes, hey, this is where this is. And it was like a Christmas present. And it was a Christmas present.
It really, I mean, we joke about it, but y'all, in a time of crisis, like parents that do this and have these conversations and
Such
plan,
a gift.
it really is.
And for you parents who are 60, 70, 50s, I promise you, when you have all this written down, you will sleep a little bit deeper because you've thought it through, you know where it all is, and you'll be good to go. This is The Ramsey Show. We'll be right back. This is The Ramsey Show, 888-825-5225. Rachel, one of the great cautions for people who are on radio, who do podcasts or the media, is whatever happens, don't get yourself canceled.
Oh, yeah. And John Deloney
I'm about to get myself canceled.
Did. Oh, my gosh.
Okay. So the other day I posted on social media. I don't even have I've got it on cell phone.
I have it.
Of course
you ready?
Yes. All right. Here's what I posted.
It's a text post on Instagram. So
there's no pictures or anything?
No pictures. Just like a black square with white font. You ready? Parents, make no mistake. Youth travel sports are for you, not your kids. If athletic achievement is their only way to connect with you, they will give up every weekend of their childhood chasing a little ball to win your love. Do what you're going to do. That's fine. Just be honest about the real beneficiary. And then you said, quick edit at the bottom.
Oh, okay. Well, hold on. I'll tell you about the edit.
Okay.
So I posted that.
That is a freaking like black and white statement, though.
It is. And
make no mistake. Youth travel sports are for you. Like you gave no possibly 2%. The kid loves it.
Right.
Like you went hard. I have my opinions. I went
hard in the paint. And in the post itself, I said, "Hey, this is my working hypothesis. I think I'm right, but I'd love to hear from you."
And did you hear from them?
Within 2 hours, I lost 1,500 followers. Just forget this guy. Hundreds of opinions came flying in, which is what I asked for. I loved it.
Yeah.
And one of the most common statements early on was, oh, this is one of those guys that's never done sports or spoken like a true non-sport guy. So I did something I almost never do. A, I read the comments. I never do that, and I did this time. And B, I actually plugged back in and said, just in case you're wondering, I played travel baseball before it was travel baseball. Back when we were traveling all over with all-star teams and stuff. I was pretty good. Then I was a 2-year multi-sport starter in high school, varsity starter in high school, and then I went to college on a athletic scholarship. And then after college, I was running around getting my head kicked in with a professional MMA team. So I've spent my whole life doing this. Okay, and
sports, yes.
I've got 2 little kids now, and the machine was kicking up, and I started asking myself, this is way different than when I was involved in
Oh, man. It's
and
a different
as
world.
I went down the rabbit hole, good God almighty, look at this. Nationally, visitor spending associated with sporting events, which consists primarily of youth and amateur sports tournaments, reached roughly $92 billion in the most recent data available. $92 billion. It is a multi-billion dollar industry.
So here's can I throw another stat in this? Because here's what's crazy. So the typical parent spends $693 per child per year. So $700. Now, if you go into the travel world, frequently you can spend up to $12,000 per year, with that money going towards travel and team fees, according to a survey by Project Play. Again, the average sports out there is $693, but parents spend on excess $12,000 for travel, and that does not include private training clinics or sports summer camps, which also can cost hundreds to thousands of dollars, even more per year.
And so this conversation started about a decade ago when I was working in higher ed, and I was meeting with my friends were athletic trainers, and the number of athletic trainers saying, hey, we're starting to see joint injuries that we have normally only been reserved for the elderly.
Oh,
and
wow.
18-year-olds who have been playing not only just baseball since they were 5, but a particular position that they went and got a special coach for, and special this and special that, and they play on this team and this team and this team, and they've done the same repetitive motion for the last 16 years during some of the most critical developmental moments of their life, and their shoulders look like the shoulders of 80-year-olds.
Oh my gosh.
And so I started thinking, whoa, that doesn't sound right. And so, man, if you go down the rabbit hole, the scholarship.
Yeah. Oh, go ahead. Yeah.
The links between travel sports and professional sports is virtually zero.
Yeah.
Right? The psychological
and
challenges.
professional, too.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, yes.
The psychological challenges, the social isolation, the travel, the altered relationship with families. The research is starting to come out saying, whoa, what are we doing? And so I started asking myself, why are we doing this? Because I want my kids to play sports, because I feel like I got a lot from them. I learned discipline. I learned how to fail in public. I learned all these great things. But to the tune of every weekend of our family, right? To the tune of we're paying off debt, yet we're spending $12,000 per kid to play tennis, to play hockey, to go on all these soccer tournaments.
Right.
And the most common feedback I get is twofold. Number one, my kid loves it. And here's my response to that. Here's my response to that. I woke up this morning and my wife's out of town, and so it was just me and Josephine, my 6-year-old. She asked me right when she woke up, stumbles in, gives me her morning hug, and says, "Can I have ice cream?" She loves it. She loves it. "Can I have ice cream for breakfast?" "No, Josephine. Can I have ice cream?"
Oh, I know.
"Can I have pancakes and Nutella?" It's my job as a parent to say, hey, I know you love this, and if you miss every weekend, what happens to your academics? If you are only with this group of 12 people in this group forever, yes, you make some deep relationships, but you miss a whole cascade of people that are different than you, that think different, that worship different.
That's right? A great point. Because that was going to be my feedback to you of like, yeah, but what if the kid's so good and they love it? Yes. But you're still the parent. Like,
you're the parent. It's your job.
Even though they love it, oh, yeah.
Because my kid would eat ice cream every step of the way.
So the financial piece, I never like to say, I would never spend X amount on a car.
Absolutely.
I would never spend that much for a vacation, right? Because it's all percentages.
It's all percentages.
So for some families, $12,000, there are some families that are going into debt. They are,
or they're not doing things that they otherwise would benefit their financial position. It would help their family out.
In general, yes. And so it's become a detriment financially.
That's right.
To me, that's a hard stop. It's like we're never on the show going to say go into debt for things. So if you're digging yourself in a financial hole for this, it's not smart. It's not wise long term for yourself, for your family. It's not wise. Now, if it's a small percentage of your income,
knock your lights out, man. Do your thing.
If you, right. It's not a moral thing based on the money, but I would caution. I'm like, but here's my thing. Can I tell you mine?
Yeah.
We have 3 kids. Okay, our oldest is in 2nd grade, and I've had probably 5 conversations. I'd say in the last 6 months. I don't want to be dramatic here. I was gonna say last week, but it's probably been over the 6 months. That you're talking to a parent. It's like, we're gonna put her in dance, and we have to do the dance championship league where they go and travel, because if she doesn't do that, she's not going to make middle school dance team, because middle school dance team is going to be full of girls that have been dancing, right? I'm just using this as an example. And then if you don't make middle school, there's no way you're going to make high school. And if you don't make high school, they're going to do drugs and they're going to die, because they're not going to be able to. But you plug in any other sport, right? Whether it's soccer, baseball. So, John, honestly, as a parent, though, in our county in Nashville, it's probably very heightened too. I feel like most everyone does travel sports. It's rare to meet a family that doesn't.
That's right.
In this, I mean, seriously, it's crazy. Everyone does. So I even went down that rabbit hole where I was like, oh my gosh.
Okay, is
this going to be bad?
Here's the data. This is from a study here done in 2016. There were 322 athletes invited to the 2015 National Football League Scouting Combine. 87% of whom played multiple sports in high school, and 13% only who only played football. And what this goes on to say is the greatest gift you can give your kids is to let them play a bunch of different things and let them have fun and naturally gravitate towards a thing, with specialization happening later on in high school and into college.
Okay, but what if they don't make but what if that's a reality though? That
but
you
it's
get
not.
you go to play 6th grade soccer.
Here's why.
If they're athletic, they're going to be athletic?
If they're LeBron James, you'll know at about age 6, right? Everyone around that kid, he signed his high school. In high school, he signed his tennis shoe deal,
right.
And there's always the story of Rudy. Yes, we know that there's the story of Rudy. For most of us, the anxiety and tension and expense and frenetic schedules cause more
damage,
challenge to our kids than they're good at soccer.
He said it.
This is the Ramsey Show, 888-825-5225. For those of you remaining listeners, let's go out to Hector in Tampa, Florida. What's up, Hector?
Hey, John. Hey, Rachel. My wife and I have a question. We're not sure what to do. I'll give you guys our numbers and then ask my question.
Cool.
We earn a combined $145,000 a year. We have a main property, which we live, which we owe $266,000. It's worth about $525,000. We have a rental property that we owe $50,000, and it's worth about $200,000. And we have a property, just a bare ground. It's free and clear. It's worth about $40,000. We have $18,000 in debt and $75,000 in savings. We're not sure if we should sell the rental and the land and use some savings to possibly pay off our mortgage of our primary house, or if we should use savings to pay off the rental and the debt that we have.
Whew, it's a good question, man.
Okay, so if I were you, Hector, what's the $18,000 in debt?
It's just my wife's car and just a couple credit cards.
Okay. I would use some of that $75,000. Go ahead and pay it off.
And that'll leave you with $57,000. I'd be debt free by this afternoon on that thing.
Yep. And then the $40,000. What was that you said was free and clear? Is that in another house?
That was the property.
That's the property.
Piece of raw ground.
Okay. What were you going to do with it?
We were thinking about building on it, but it's a little bit far from where we currently live. So we kind of just hanging on to it right now.
Okay. Do you know like percent? What would it go for right now?
40,000, about 50,000.
Oh, sorry, it's worth that. Okay. Yeah. Yep.
We don't owe anything.
Okay. You know, if you're not going to use it, if it's not a piece of ground that you're like, oh, that's our dream and we really want it, there's a part of me that I'm like, I would sell it because it's not going to make an income, right? It's not like there's a house on it. And so you could sell it, put some of that money and some of your emergency money and pay off the rental, the $50,000, and then start knocking out your primary mortgage.
And here's another thing you can do, man. Rachel, stop me if I'm wrong here, but I'm just trying to follow the baby steps straight up. You would have $57,000 if you paid off that $18,000 this afternoon. You can take 50 of that and pay off this last remaining debt, which is the $50,000 left on that rental property, and then you only have left your mortgage. And you've got $7,000 in the bank. You sell that property that's just dirt, just sitting there. You sell it for 40 or 50 grand, and now you got your money right back. Or you roll that money up and you drop your mortgage to, I don't know. Actually, I would keep that. I would keep it in have it my 3 to 6 month emergency fund. So yeah, I'd sell that property, pay that rental house off.
Do you like the rental house?
Not to live, but I like it as a rental property.
Sure. Okay. So it makes good income. You feel like if you didn't have this rental house and you had a paid off primary house and you guys had no debt, would you go and be a landlord? Like, would you choose to invest in real estate?
Yes, my wife and I do like real estate.
Okay.
Let me ask you one other math question. What is your monthly mortgage payment?
It's $2,000.
$2,000. What do you bring home on this rental property? What does it net you?
About $200.
Okay. So, and again, I have a very primitive mind, and I own no real estate. Okay. The way I would look at this in my home is I'm trading that $200 a month for my $2,000 mortgage. I would rather have a net gain every month in my home of $1,800. You see how I'm getting there? I would rather pay my mortgage off, no longer send $2,000 away, have $2,000 minus the $200 I could have been earning on real estate, and I'd have $1,800 in my wallet more every month. And I know that doesn't take into perceived.
That is the rental for that. Rental property, it's about $1,500. That would be what would be coming in if we had it paid off. I don't know if that matters.
Oh, against your mortgage? Okay. Yeah, so that's just trading $500, and then there's the appreciation. So it's almost $600. We have to in another.
I mean, honestly, Hector, if you owed, for considering what you guys make, and if you owed $200,000 on a rental, I would sell it. You guys owe $50,000.
That's what I'm saying. You're so close,
and you can clean it up with the sale of the land and the savings. And there's a part of me have a paid for rental, use some of that rental money to go towards your primary mortgage, and then attack the primary mortgage, and that be your next. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yep. That's what I would do. And yeah, and I remember on a different call, Dave, who shocked me. Same kind of situation. And he was like, well, as the numbers are working, you could have it paid off and then you throw. And I was like, I thought you just say sell everything, you know? Yeah. So, I mean,
you're pretty close. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, because the ratios are so small in what you guys have with cash and what you could get with the sale of the land, man, you could get there so quickly. But it's a great question, Hector. Great question.
Yeah, and for those listening, this isn't licensed just to like, oh, cool, we can go.
Go get rental. Yeah. No, it's really ratios of income and where they're at with cash flow makes a huge difference. So, John, I know one issue you don't have in life is switching wallets and purses.
Whatever. I've got a giant Costanza wallet that I need a slimmer version of.
Oh, really? Well, as a lady, I have multiple bags and purses that
as a lady,
I have to, it's like, am I taking the big bag? Am I taking the backpack because I have all the kids stuff? Am I coming to work and I need this like I'm switching stuff all the time. And so when we talk about being smart with money and budgeting, having cash available and having an envelope or an envelope system is key to sticking to your budget. So I have the Rachel Cruz wallet that has multiple envelopes within the wallet. And then we just launched very recently the Rachel Cruz Slim wallet.
Dude, that's for me.
There it is, the Slim wallet. This is just for you. I was about to call you John. And it's great because it's a card holder. And everyone's like, that's a lot of cards for people that just talk about debit cards. Listen, there are other cards.
Insurance,
out
library
there,
card.
License,
Come on,
everything.
people.
But lots of card holders. And then in the back, there is one kind of zip feature that holds one envelope for cash. So if you have that one category that you think I need to have cash for, it's there. So it's available in 3 colors, black, camel, and champagne. This is the one I personally use. I love it because, again, I'm switching. George Camel made it just for him because I'm switching back and forth all the time. So it is made with genuine leather. You smell it?
That's cool.
It's so great. It's so great.
It's cool.
But we partnered with our friends at Join, they're out of India,
they're
they're amazing. They're a fair trade company and employ people in really hard places and give them work and trade and skill, and they're amazing. So anyways, if you want to check it out, the new Rachel Cruz Slim wallet is available for $39. Go to RamseySolutions.com today to get yours.
Thank you, Rachel. It's a great Christmas gift. And I didn't do this at the top of this last segment here. Today's scripture of the day is Ephesians 4:22 through 24. To put off your old self, which belongs to your former manner of life and is corrupt through deceitful desires, and to be renewed in the spirit of your minds, and to put on the new self, created after the likeness of God in true righteousness and holiness. Ralph Lauren says, the world is open to us, and each day is an occasion to reinvent ourselves.
Oh, did you say Lauren?
How am I supposed to say it? Is that right?
Me and Ken Coleman had the longest talk about this.
Oh my gosh.
Lauren.
Do you remember that?
Ralph Lauren.
Or Lauren.
Lauren. He actually says in the Oprah interview, Lauren. He doesn't say Lauren. People claim he does. I don't know. It's a good debate.
I'm going to disagree with you. It's one of the least productive debates ever had in the history of debates. So thanks for bringing that to our lives,
You're
Rachel.
welcome.
Everyone in this room is now dumber for what you've just said. Hey, I want to thank everybody in the booth. Thank you, all the listeners, and we will see you soon. Be kind to one another. Pay off your debts. Hey, it's John Deloney, co-host of The Ramsey Show. Did you know over 18 million people listen to The Ramsey Show every week? A lot of those people listen on one of our 600-plus radio stations across the country. To find a station near you, go to RamseySolutions.com/show.